Grocery shopping in America feels like a luxury in 2025. And I know if you're from Europe, this may be difficult for you to conceptualize because you probably have a fridge and a pantry full of fresh, high quality foods that you didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for. That said, for as much as I have spoken about how outrageous the grocery prices are in the USA, especially for high quality foods like your average European has access to, I can show you better than I can tell you. Bearing that in mind, let's go ahead and get into this reaction.
So when we go to the grocery store, the cart is getting smaller and your receipts are getting longer. It's pretty much like that for everybody. I know for me, I've been noticing a lot of shrinkflation lately, but nevertheless, it is crazy right now with the prices of food. Things are going up so much.
$347.94. I don't think I've ever seen anything in a grocery store that costed that much. You can literally buy a flat screen TV for that amount of money. Hold on, what even is this? Beef ribeye something. So I'm vegan, I'm not really too familiar with the prices of meat products, but if you're from Europe or if you're from any country outside of the USA, comment below how much something like this would cost at your local supermarket, because I'm willing to bet it is not $350.
And look how much it is. This.
What is this? They have a lot of temerity to make this bag clear like this too, so you can see the fact that you're getting scammed. I guess in a sense that's almost admirable, but this is crazy.
Kind of crazy to think that we used to buy eggs to throw at houses. Now we can't afford eggs or houses.
In fact, right now, the average U.S. household is spending more than $1,000 a year on groceries than they were just even a couple of years ago. In states like Hawaii and Alaska, they're saying that they're paying about $300 a week or more on groceries.
So I think she kind of misworded that just a little bit. I think what she was trying to say was that Americans are spending $1,000 more per year than they used to, which is a substantially high amount. I don't know off the top of my head how much more that is per month, but luckily I have my handy dandy calculator right here. 1,000 divided by 12 is 83 extra dollars per month. And that's year over year. So assuming that the buying habits of Americans have not changed substantially in the past year, which they probably haven't, that's pretty crazy. $83 per month can make a very big difference, especially if you're kind of living on that margin of, well, being paycheck to paycheck and being homeless.
Because everything is getting imported. And then you have other low-cost states such as Mississippi where people are really feeling the burden because the groceries are taking up more than 10% of their income. I know you see reports online that'll say inflation's down or grocery prices are getting lower, but when you look at real people's stories, that's not what's really happening. You have to really look at the microeconomics to really see what's going on with the big picture.
Guys, y'all ain't gonna believe this freaking crap.
10%. Before we go any further, what I want you to do, if you're comfortable sharing this information, is comment below what country you're from and how much you spend per month on groceries. And by the way, just a full disclaimer, I'm well aware that inflation is affecting pretty much the whole entire world. It's probably affecting you as well. But I'm very curious to know how much you're spending on groceries compared to the average American before we start seeing how much these people are spending.
My husband just left the grocery store, walked there with not even 4 bags and paid over almost $300 and something. Everything has just went up double. Like, what the heck, man? This is getting crazy. We can't even afford groceries anymore. My husband brings home not even $500 a week. And we can't afford this freaking crap.
$500 a week. So I don't know what her husband does, but based on her accent and her husband's income, they definitely live in the American South. And this is a great opportunity to dispel this myth that I've seen in my comments a few times. I've seen a few people say that a state like Mississippi, for example, is actually wealthier than the entirety of the Netherlands. Now, in terms of GDP and all that, I don't know how true that actually is, factually speaking. What I do know is that the people who are saying that have never been to Mississippi or the Netherlands. I've been to both just this year, and I can confidently say, without a shadow of a doubt, that Mississippi, which the creator of this video mentioned a few minutes ago, has more in common with Thailand than it does with the Netherlands. And if you don't believe me, go on Google Maps and verify for yourself.
And we went to fill out for freaking food stamps to get help. They denied us. They said he made too much. Off of not even $500 a week. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. We can't even get help. But that's not the point. My husband, he works. And I can't work. This is getting out of control.
I just spent $345 at Aldi, and I didn't buy like a piece of furniture. I just bought food.
And this is at Aldi, which we know is a European grocery store that also has locations in the US. This is supposed to be the budget option. So I know I already asked how much you spend on groceries, but I'm especially curious to hear, if you shop at Aldi, how much does your grocery bill look like when you go to Aldi in Europe?
I didn't think that was even possible to do, honestly.
So I could cry. It was my very first time getting declined at Aldi, and there was of course a long line, and everyone knew that, oh, she doesn't have enough money for her groceries. Nicholas has a lot to say apparently. So anyway, I left the house knowing I had over $200. Between the time of going and shopping and swiping my card, I did not have $200, and my $190 order was declined.
And I know I've mentioned this in the past, but this makes it especially cruel that American grocery stores, or rather grocery stores in America, because again, Aldi is actually a European store in the US, but grocery stores in America don't show you the actual price of the items that you're buying. They show you the pre-tax price. So it's possible that maybe when she added it up, she could have afforded it, but then when she added the tax afterwards, she wasn't able to afford it. And you do get things like this that happen fairly frequently, and I imagine nowadays it happens even more frequently, that people miscalculate how much they can actually get because of that one little deception tactic that American grocery stores use.
So I went into my bank account, and of course a bill came out that I wasn't aware of, and it was $50. So I had to put like $40 worth of groceries back, which was really embarrassing, and I wish like just someone was behind me just to help the embarrassment, to like help the rest of my bill. It's never happened to me before, but it was terrible. I had like $169 in my account. I had to take out like 10 random things, you know, because I'm so embarrassed. Just please take whatever out that's gonna get me down the fastest. So we get paid on Wednesday, which is fine, but it's just the fact that, wow, this has never happened before, and I don't want this to happen again.
I think a lot of people now are just really cutting down to the basics with the groceries, because otherwise you just can't afford it. For me, rice, pasta, beans, one thing of meat, maybe a little bit of eggs, you know, things like that. And with the way prices are going, you have to stick to more of just kind of basic cooking. That's how you're really going to save.
And it's not even just the basics, it's the generic brands on top of that. It's store brand rice, store brand pasta, so on and so forth, which is generally of lower quality. And this is the biggest thing, is that it's not just that groceries are more expensive in the US, but it's also that they're lower quality for the same price. So in Europe, your average grocery store is going to have better groceries. And this is why when I went to the Netherlands, it blew my mind that a full cart of groceries in a place like Albert Heijn, which is the more expensive grocery store in the Netherlands, was still cheaper than a cart of groceries in the US, while being much, much higher quality.
When you do go to the grocery store, processed foods are going to ring up the bill really quickly. In fact, I did come across this video of a family that pretty much bought a ton of processed food, and that's what's really going to drive up your grocery bill.
Grocery haul as a 37-year-old full-time working mom of 3 boys who also moved her parents in with her. So we have groceries today from 3 different places. We got groceries from Sam's, Walmart, 4 places. Sam's, Walmart, Food Lion, and Piggly Wiggly. And I will tell you the totals for each at the end and then a grand total. So we got 2 containers of the 2-bite brownies.
Okay, so at the risk of getting canceled, because I know you're already thinking it. You might even be commenting it. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. This family does not need to be eating any type of processed food ever again for the rest of their lives. Nobody should be eating stuff like this, but they especially should not be consuming this type of food. So in a way, it's almost a good thing that the price of processed food is going up, because that sort of stuff should not be cheaper than the basic food, and especially the healthy basic food. They need to take all of this stuff, the Doritos in the back, okay, those purple Doritos, I know all about those, I ate those a lot growing up. They need to take all of that and return it if they can. They need to stop eating that sort of stuff and get on a more whole foods based diet, which again is generally unattainable for most Americans, but this is definitely not the answer.
2 of those because they'll be gone so quick. We got 1 big thing of Cinnamon Toast Crunch because we still had some left over from last trip, so we didn't need as much this time. We got a big box of the oatmeal cream pies. We got some tea. We got some cereal bars. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big bags of fries. I got some conditioner.
Okay, I don't think this is really the best example of the point that she's making with this video, because not only did they get exclusively diabetes-inducing food, but they also got the largest possible quantities that they could. But believe it or not, a lot of Americans really eat like that. So maybe this is a really good example. And I always say this in videos talking about the cost of living in the US, but while it is the government's job to make things easier for people who are making the right decisions, the onus still falls on Americans to make the right decisions. And we can see people like her, and I'm not saying she's a bad person, I don't know her, I've never met her, but people like her are not making the right decisions. So it's a two-way street. And that's something that I feel like in Europe you see a lot more of. People are making good decisions, and their good decisions are being rewarded.
Q-tips, children's Tylenol, some cucumbers, some lettuce. Here's that good old Lewis bread from the Piggly Wiggly. Some bananas. We got 6 blocks of the Monterey Jack cheese. We got a watermelon. We got 2 big things of mayonnaise because we be going through some mayonnaise. We got some grapes. We got some eggs. 2 things of the allergy medicine. Some deodorant for my dad. Some antacid for my mom. Lip gloss that my mom got. 2 blocks of the mozzarella cheese. 6 blocks of the mild cheddar cheese. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Are they stocking up for an apocalypse or something? Nobody ever needs to get this much food from the grocery store. Nobody on this planet needs this much food from the grocery store. This is ridiculous.
6, 7, 8 Dr. Peppers. We got these subs for Bryson. He absolutely loves the Italian Hero subs at Walmart. We got 4 of these for him, so this should last him for quite a few days here. We got 1 Mountain Dew because we still have a few of those left, and Brantley is literally the only one that drinks them. We got a box of Fruit Loops. We got 1 bag of the purple Doritos. We got a thing of buttermilk, a big bag of sugar. We got 2 gallons of milk. Got a thing of naps. We got the Fruit Loops with marshmallows. We got some Oreos.
How many people live in this house? Either this is her only time grocery shopping for the whole year, or she has about 20 or 30 people living in this house. Because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And again, I'm trying my best to not come across as being overly judgmental, but whoever her friends are, they need to have a talk with her about this. They need to have a talk with her because this is not okay.
We got two packs of Capri Suns. We got 4 New York strips. And Bryson's already broke into his stuff. I told y'all he left them. We got 2 packs of ribeyes here. We got a thing of drumsticks here. We got 2 packs of pork chops. 32 pizzas.
This video is not real. This can't be real. This has to be satire. 32 pizzas. Nobody in the whole world needs 32 frozen pizzas. What are they gonna do with all this food?
We got Tower of Pizzas again for Brayden. I will cry. So we wiped them out. We took all they had. And then we got 10 packs of strawberry Kool-Aid. And we got 3 cases of water, but I am not picking those up for y'all. So yeah, that was included in this. Oh, excuse me. We got 4 cases of water. And then we also ordered an 8-count box of deluxe mac and cheese online at Sam's and an 8-count box of Velveeta mac and cheese at Sam's. That's not here yet.
It just keeps going.
Gonna be shipped here. Okay. All right, so I got all of our totals written down. So online at Sam's was $31.26. In store at Sam's was $81.56. Food Lion was $55.23. Walmart. So Walmart, we had one total. We did 2 separate orders at Walmart. One was $188.96, and one was $24.15. And then Piggly Wiggly was $95.52. And my mom has a total for me. So all of that together is $476.68 today.
Okay, so really she just disproved the point that the creator of this video made, which was that processed foods are more expensive than non-processed foods. That's clearly not true, because if she got all of that, she just got about 30 years worth of food for $470 or whatever it was. I mean, really, she's kind of proving the point that this is why America has an obesity problem. It's because for people who are low income, generally, that kind of food is going to be the most accessible. And if they want a warm meal, a freshly cooked meal, and I do emphasize the air quotes, you go to McDonald's and look at the dollar menu, and that's your dinner for that day. But in Europe, I feel like this logic is flipped entirely on its head, because it's almost always going to be cheaper to cook fresh foods. And again, the foods are simply higher quality because of stronger governmental regulations.
So a little bit less than last time, but the crazy thing is that we left a lot of stuff off of the list this time because we didn't run out. So I'm just imagining if we hadn't needed it.
Wait, she left a lot of stuff off the list. What? Wait. I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch a lot of videos that leave me genuinely baffled. This is one of those rare occasions where I don't know what to say. I mean, 32 frozen pizzas definitely takes the cake, no pun intended.
There's no telling what we would have spent today.
And this is even being extended to pet food. Pet food is also really expensive now. For a bag of dog food that I used to pay maybe $45 for, now it's getting close to $70, $80. That is so much. And I just don't know how people do it. We have a small dog, and
if you have a dog and you live in Europe, comment below how much you're spending on dog food.
a medium-sized dog. And the bag of dog food lasts us about a month and a half. But for people that have more than 2 dogs or large dogs, I mean, it's a lot. And people are even now turning in their pets to shelters because they say that they can't afford to keep them anymore. And that is so unfortunate. I mean, it really breaks my heart. But that's the predicament that people are finding themselves in, and they're basically giving up their pets because they're saying that they can't afford the pet food.
We've all been feeling prices going up everywhere. It's been hitting every single one of us. And I think it's called soft economic indicators that we're going into a recession. It's the stuff that's not obvious, clear as day. And one of them was how many families are relinquishing their family pets because they can't afford them anymore.
And this right here, I have a soft spot for animals. Again, I'm vegan. I love animals. It's part of my routine to go out and find stray animals to feed because I just love animals so much. When you're a child and you lose your family pet, especially to circumstances that are not natural, you don't understand the context of why you're giving up those pets. And let me tell you from firsthand experience, albeit from different circumstances, that is a traumatic experience that stays with you. That stays with you as the years go on. In fact, I'm gonna be a little bit vulnerable here, but I wanna say it was maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I was in the US with my girlfriend visiting my family and whatnot. And I was showing my girlfriend some old pictures of these dogs that we used to have. Their names were Bart and Lance. And as I looked at the pictures, I got emotional. I actually cried. It was the first time I ever cried in front of my girlfriend. And it caught me so off balance because I'm 25 years old. I haven't seen those dogs. The dogs are long gone by now because I was around 7 or 8 years old. I think 9 maybe when we had to give them up. We had them for a year and a half or 2 years. But the fact that that still affected me so many years later, to the point that even looking at pictures of them made me emotional, that's very, very telling. So just knowing that so many children are gonna have to go through that experience for reasons that are entirely out of their control, I'm not gonna lie, it's very heartbreaking for me.
That is skyrocketing. That shelters who are already overburdened are now beyond capacity. People can't afford their pets anymore in this economy.
And when shelters are overburdened, I mean, you put 2 and 2 together, you know what that means for those animals. Again, heartbreaking.
Dog food has skyrocketed by another $20 or so a bag. And most American families can't afford that huge jump. I know my daughter works at a vet clinic and a lot of people are skipping on medical care and what have you. Yeah, soft economic indicator, I think it is. It's a real thing.
And I know I mentioned this in another video recently, but if you have pets, if you're struggling financially, you need to find a way to gather up the money to take them to the vet and get all their regular checkups, because they can't control that. The pets have no power in their situation. So the onus is entirely on you. Now, if you went and got a pet without having the financial means to do so, then hey, I understand that that can be very difficult. Granted, you probably should not have done that, but circumstances change and you can find yourself in unexpected situations. But if that means you have to start skipping meals, you have to do 2 meals a day instead of 3 in order to take your pets to the vet, then you do that. Because your pets are like children, except they never grow up. They never become self-sufficient. So it is your responsibility entirely.
How are you handling the food costs? Is it affecting you as much where you are, or do you find yourself in a location that the food prices aren't going up so high? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, I want to mention that a few people have brought to my attention that there is someone going around in the comment section of my videos pretending to be me and saying to contact them on WhatsApp. I don't really know for what.
Yeah, if you ever see a comment from someone pretending to be me indicating that, or if you ever see any comments from people, I know we're going completely off topic here, but I feel like I've seen people fall for this before. When you see a thread of comments, usually with a disproportionately high amount of likes, talking about how they went from struggling to, I don't know, making $10,000 bi-weekly or $50,000 every month. And then you see a thread of comments replying to that comment that lead to a specific source, usually by name. Oh, I'm glad that my mentor such and such helped me to achieve financial freedom in my life. Make sure you do not inquire into that. I know you're probably not born yesterday. You're probably smart enough to know this, but I have seen people fall for it. So for the one person who is likely to fall for something like this, do not. But those comments would not exist and they wouldn't be compelling if we didn't have a situation like what we have in the US today, where your average American cannot afford high quality groceries, high quality food, or really medium, passable quality food. When you're having to eat 32 frozen pizzas and 20 Dr. Peppers and whatever else that woman got in order to survive and sustain yourself, that's a problem. That's indicative of an underlying issue in your country, especially given that America is probably the only country where there's a direct correlation between poverty and obesity, meaning that the most impoverished places tend to be the places with the highest obesity rates. That's not a coincidence. And when we think about how the pharmaceutical industry works, when we think about how the healthcare industry works in the US, I don't think any of this is coincidental.